Okay, this is the first time that I've gotten ready in like a week and I just feel so good. Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you're here. Today's video is a monthly classic on my channel. We are going to be doing my August wrap up and my September TBR. Also, before we get into the video, can I just say I am so excited for fall. Being able to have a hot drink, feeling cozy in a sweatshirt. I also have been DIYing a few of my sweatshirts and like cutting them. I just think it looks so cute. I'm just so excited to not be sweating all the time. With that being said, I'm also excited to be in the reading mood for more fantasy. And I'll be honest, I'm not really a thriller girly. I literally get scared over any and everything. I'm still scared of the movie Coraline that I watched when I was like 7 years old, but I'm definitely excited to be in the mood for all the fantasies that I want to read. Okay, before we get into talking about fall and my September TBR way too much that we skip my wrap up, let's go ahead and get into all the books that I read in August. Okay, the first book that I read in August I don't have with me. I actually borrowed it from a friend. It was The Deal by Elle Kennedy. The Deal is a hockey romance, which was actually my first hockey romance, and I ended up reading 2 this month, and I think I've found my new romance fixation. The Deal is dual POV, which I absolutely love, and it's about our 2 main characters, Garrett and Hannah. Garrett is captain of the hockey team. He's super great at hockey, but he's kind of like struggling in academics right now. And he's like your typical hockey boy. And Hannah's actually a theater major, which I kind of loved because I did theater growing up. So it kind of made me relate to her a little bit. And she's just super cool. She's also super smart, but she's not the most outgoing whenever it comes to guys. And she has this crush on this one guy. She's like, oh my gosh, like if I could just talk to him, get the chance to, but he's just never gonna see me that way. Garrett ends up figuring out that Hannah's like super smart, and he's like, yo, like, can you please help me, tutor me for this class so I don't get kicked off the hockey team? And she's like, no, like I don't really want to. What's in it for me? And since Garrett's super popular and the guy that she likes is super popular, Garrett was like, let's fake date, make the guy jealous. So it's also a fake dating trope, and that's just the base of the story. I ended up rating this one a 4-star. I really enjoyed this book, I'm not gonna lie. I just thought it was super good, and obviously I've never read a hockey romance before, so I was very intrigued as to what was going on. It wasn't like too much hockey either, which I was kind of nervous about, but I really enjoyed Garrett and Hannah's relationship and how it kind of developed and how he developed a super nice soft spot for her. I will say though, the thing that happened at the end, like the third act breakup moment, was so crazy. Like I was so mad, and the fact that I knew that I was so mad about these characters not being together, that's how I knew that I liked them so much together. But I did really like it. The only thing I have to say is that it was a little cringy at some parts, and by a little I mean kind of a lot. Like a lot of the dialogue was pretty cringy, especially on Garrett's part, but I did like the way we ended things, so a solid 4-star. The next book I read was Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. If you're on Book Talk, BookTube, if you're anywhere in the book community, you've definitely heard about this book. A lot of my favorite people who I have similar reading tastes to love this book, and I actually ended up reading these 3 next books that I'm going to talk about in a video. So if you want to know more of my in-depth thoughts on these, then go ahead and check that out too. This is a second chance romance, and it's about the characters Macy and Elliot. We follow Macy in this book, and basically her and Elliot meet whenever they're kids. They're next door neighbors, and they both love to read, so they end up hiding away in Macy's little closet library that she has, and they just grow up together and get super close, and it's just very cute and wholesome. I mean, you can definitely tell whenever they're younger and when they're older, they just have this like invisible string, like this like tether towards each other. Nobody gets each other like they do. Like they just make so much sense together. I did cry reading this probably like 3 or 4 times, but I'm not gonna lie, I do have a little bit of beef with this book. I know so many people love this, rave about it, say it's 5 stars, say it's their best book that they've ever read, a super good comfort book, but I just cannot justify giving this a 5-star. But there is something that happens at the end to our main character Elliot that I just cannot believe was totally blown over like that. It was a super traumatic thing that happened to him, and it's like they said it happened and then it was like, oh, okay, it's over, everything's happy now. And I don't know, it honestly like it kind of just gave me the ick. I felt like the ending was a little bit rushed too, not just with that, but with the communication with the characters at the very end, like talking about the thing that happened to Elliot and some of the stuff that happened to Macy. And I honestly think that it could have been longer just for a better ending. I think it was only like 400 pages. I did really enjoy like the first like 90% of it, and that's why I rated it a 4.25 star. But just the ending, I just, ugh. it just made me so upset. I just really didn't like the ending. The next book I read was the second hockey romance that I was talking about. It's Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. We have all heard so much about this book. I am so glad that I finally read this. This book is about Stassi and Nathan, and it is also dual POV. Nathan is captain of the hockey team, and something ends up happening to where they can't use their rink. And Stassi is a figure skater, and they have two separate rinks. So Nathan and the hockey team end up having to use Stassi's rink for a while, and that's how they kind of run into each other. I ended up rating this one a 4.75, and I don't know. I low-key think that I might bump it up to 5, because I honestly can't stop thinking about these characters, but I also don't know if it's because there's a second one coming out. So I'm probably gonna wait and maybe I'll bump it up to 5, like if I can't stop thinking about it still. But I really enjoyed this book. Watching their relationship grow and like figuring out how they fit into each other's lives. There's a lot of real stuff talked about in this book, and it's not just like all fluffy and rom-commy. It's definitely not rom-commy. It is very new adult. It is pretty spicy, like real spicy. But the spice wasn't too much, and honestly it was like the first half of the book was spice. Maybe not first half, but like the majority of the first part of the book. And then later on you just get so many layers to their relationship and so many layers to their friendships and all of those sorts of things. Like I said though, I solid 4.75, maybe a 5. We'll have to see. Okay, the next book that I read was The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber, and I rated this one a 5-star. I loved it so much, guys. This is the second book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. The third one I think comes out in October, and let me just say, I will be running to my nearest bookstore to go get it. This is one of my favorite books probably of all time. This trilogy is about a girl named Evangeline Fox, and she lives in this kind of fantasy, magical, fairy tale-esque kind of world. The whole series starts out with Evangeline trying to figure out why the guy that she was with for so long just totally like dropped her at the ball of the hat and is marrying someone else. It was super sudden, super weird, and so she goes to a church to pray to a fate, which is kind of like their gods, but not really. They're just super powerful and immortal beings. So she ends up praying to the Prince of Hearts named Jax, and they just end up going on this huge journey together, and this was just the continuation of that. And every time I think I know what's going to be happening in one of these books, I'm always wrong. I love how I just could never guess what was going on. It kept everything so interesting. It kept me wanting to keep reading. It's just such an enthralling book, and it's just so heartbreaking at the same time. I just can't say enough good things about it. I just love adding a new 5-star to the collection. It's the best feeling ever. Okay, and then we have 2 books that I actually read off the Libby app. The first one is my first Ellen Hildebrand book, and it was the 5-Star Weekend by her. So this book is about a woman named Hollis, and I think she's in like her 50s, and her husband ends up dying in a tragic car accident, and it's taken her a while to obviously cope with everything going on. And her job is kind of like a famous food blogger. So she was trying to think of something fun to do, not only for her blog, but also to kind of get her out of this funk and make herself feel better, because it's been a while since her husband died. So she hears about this lady that does this thing called the 5-Star Weekend, where she invites 4 of her closest friends from each part of life. So childhood, college, kind of like whenever her kids were growing up, and then middle age. So she invites all 4 of these women out to enjoy just a weekend of activities and kind of like relaxation, and just enjoy a fun-filled weekend together. And this was third-person omniscient, which honestly I don't really read a lot of books with that POV. So I don't know if that's what kind of threw me off. You literally got every single point of view, not just of all the women, but also of like their waiter or waitresses, just like from every random character that you would run into. Like even some women that would see them out to like brunch or something, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, I want to go talk to them about stuff, blah 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 blah, and it'd be just like a brief little thing, and I was like, this doesn't really add anything to the story, and it was kind of confusing me. I didn't really like that about it. I feel like it just would have been better if it was just maybe third-person omniscient, but just didn't include all those characters. And I don't know if it was just because the women in the book were a lot older than I am, so maybe I can't relate to it. I just really don't think it was my cup of tea. I really don't think it was for me, but I do think that there are other people out there who would probably enjoy this. Like I already said, the next book that I read was also off the Libby app, and it was just a little novella by Allie Hazelwood. It's the first one I read by her. It was the one named Stuck With You, and I absolutely love Allie Hazelwood. I don't even remember what the girl's name is, but it's about this girl, and she meets this guy. He's super nice, and they end up having this like great time together, and then she's like super pissed off at him and doesn't want to see him ever again. But then they get locked in an elevator together. So the whole time they're locked in that elevator, she's like rethinking the past and rehashing finishing like kind of what happened, so you figure out like at the end what happened. And like I said, I absolutely love Ali Hazelwood's writing, so it's not like it was like bad. I think it just, novellas don't really have enough time to make you obsessed with the characters. So I rated this one a 2.5. I did enjoy their relationship and kind of the concept. I kind of do wish though it wasn't as steamy, just because for a novella I just wanted it to be more romantic and kind of wholesome, I guess. Because I feel like for me, I don't really like steaming books unless there's like a lot really going on, and it was a little too insta-lovey for me. But again, I haven't read a lot of novellas. I do want to read the other two that she has. A solid 2.5. Didn't hate it, didn't really love it, don't really remember too much about it, obviously, because I don't remember the main characters' names. Alright, and then finally, the last book that I read in the month of August was, finally, A Court in Mist and Fury by none other than Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in the ACOTAR series, and I am so excited that I am finally continuing the series. I think I read the first one in June, and I wasn't absolutely obsessed with it. I think I rated it a 4.5, but I still did really enjoy it, and I thought it was pretty interesting. And then you get to the second one, and everybody says the second one is the best one out of all of them, and I'm not really sure yet because I haven't read all of them, but oh my gosh, it is so good. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and rate this one a 5-star. It might change, but I just can't stop thinking about these characters. I'm actually reading the next one right now, and I just absolutely love this world, love these characters. The found family in these books is not what I was expecting at all. I am so excited to see where this series goes, and I don't know if I'll ever shut up about it. I actually have a video already up of me reading the first one, so definitely go check that out if you haven't seen that yet. But I also am going to have a video of me reading the second and third one too, which I'm almost done with. I'm almost halfway through the third one, and I'm really enjoying it so far, so definitely look out for this video. It will be coming in probably a week or two. Okay, that is all for my August wrap up and all the books that I read in August. Now let's go ahead and get into my September TBR, starting off with the book that I'm in the middle of, which is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas, the third book in the ACOTAR series. Like I said, I'm absolutely loving it so far, and I just love the series. I don't know what else to say that I didn't already say with the second book. So excited to finish this one. Going along with that series, I'm also going to be doing a reading vlog for the final 2 books that are out right now. So maybe at the end of this month, or just whenever I'm feeling it, I'm going to be picking up the 4th book, or the novella. Sometimes people call Akasif the 4th book, sometimes people call the novella the 4th book, but this is called A Court of Frost and Starlight, and I just feel like it'd be nice to get into maybe at the end of the month and then go into Akasif just whenever I'm ready. But I'm very excited to read this because I've just heard that it is just very cute. The next 2 books are the only romance books that I have in my TBR, and if I read outside my TBR, I have a feeling it will not be a romance book, so these are probably the only ones that you will see from me for a bit. The first one is Once More with Feeling by Alyssa Sussman, and this was on my TBR maybe for the month of July. I just haven't had the chance to get into it, but I loved Funny You Should Ask by her, so I'm really hoping I like this too. I'm pretty sure this is another second chance romance by her. This is about a girl who's like a pop star and then a guy who works in the theater, and they end up doing a show together. So I'm very interested to see where this goes. Again, her covers are just so beautiful, and that's what gravitated me towards the first one, and obviously towards the second one as well. So I really hope I get a chance to read this one, and I think it'll be a good palate cleanser in between all the fantasy that I'm going to be reading this month. And the other romance is Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score, actually the 3rd book, which I'm actually drawing a blank as to what the name of it is. I know it comes out early September, and I think I'm most excited about that book out of all 3 of them. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to the 3rd one this month, but I obviously have to read the 2nd one before I read the 3rd one. So this is a definite must on my TBR. If I don't finish this one, I'm gonna be a little upset because I really want to get to the 3rd one. If you haven't heard of the Knock 'Em Out series, it's just a small town kind of vibe. The first one, Things We Never Got Over, is about Knox and Naomi. This one is about Nash, and I think, yeah, her name is Lena. We don't really know Lena too well. We met her, I think, once in the first book, but they're all interconnected standalones, and I just love the small town of Knock 'Em Out. Okay, the next book is actually pretty different for me. I don't know if I would call this a thriller. It doesn't really matter because you guys will know or question me on it whenever I show you it, because everybody's reading this right now. It's The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I really want to start this series. It's basically like a young adult Criminal Minds. That's how everybody's describing it. And I'm very excited to read this, but it is very outside of my comfort zone. I am very easily scared. Just ask my fiance. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm scared of Coraline still, and I'm 22. So hopefully this doesn't freak me out and I will not have more nightmares. Okay, next up, I am pretty excited about this one. We have Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I feel like this one was pretty popular on Book Talk a while ago. It is a duology, and this is the first one. I honestly don't really know what it's about, and if you know me, that's my favorite way to go into books. But I do know that it is a fantasy, and I know that it looks cute. I'm excited. And then the last book on my TBR, the book that has been taking book talk, booktube, all the book things by storm, is none other than Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I'm so excited to get to this. I really wanted to get to it last month, but I just hadn't had the chance, and now's the time, baby. This is kind of a historical fantasy romance. I do know that there's like typewriters involved. That honestly might be it. I think it's during a war. So there it is. That's all I know. Okay, those are all the books that are on my September TBR. I am going to be doing, I think, one video this month that's going to be kind of exciting of books that are not on my TBR. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video though, and if you did, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe so you can see more, and don't forget to comment down below if you guys have any thoughts on any of these books that I've read or haven't read, or any books you want me to read, or any videos that you guys want me to film. Alright, I think that is it. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!